Low-income countries in Asia and the Pacific have recently enjoyed moderate economic growth, made tangible progress on poverty reduction, and kept income inequality largely in check. However, they still have relatively high proportions of poor people, have struggled to meet the non-income Millennium Development Goals, and remain highly vulnerable to shocks, in particular, climate-related disasters. Renewed and more effective development efforts, including by the region's major development partners, are urgently needed to narrow the gap, as noted in a recent study by Independent Evaluation at the Asian Development Bank. Benjamin Graham, author of the study, discusses the major findings of the study.
Projects financed by the Asian Development Fund have performed historically poorly in these countries. For example, over the past decade, the overall success rate of ADF financed projects has been around 62%. But the good news is, in recent years, performance has improved. So on a 3-year moving average, in recent years, the rate has increased to the high 60s. So this provides some optimism that going forward, this progress can continue.
The highest rated projects, many of which were in agriculture and natural resources, made good contributions to inclusive growth and environmental sustainability. This prompts the important question of whether some of the successful projects might feasibly be replicated. ADB needs a more systematic way of doing this.
The evaluation emphasized that inclusive growth efforts by ADB need to be intensified, and a number of things can be done to do that. First of all, better assessments of the constraints and opportunities for inclusive growth in countries and sectors is required. So this requires more rigorous diagnostic work, what we're calling a knowledge-first approach to identifying these opportunities and constraints, and then building them into the design of country strategies, sector programs, and then projects where possible.
ADB's ongoing institutional reforms and expanding resource base provide a platform for further progress. More intensified support for inclusive and environmentally sustainable growth and to respond effectively to climate change and disaster risks is more critical than ever. Altogether, this suggests that ADB can perform well in multiple areas and can move toward becoming a more versatile and dynamic development partner.
One of the big findings from the evaluation is that over time, ADB has done better in a number of sectors where in the past it didn't perform so well in. So for example, agriculture and natural resource management, public sector management, these are important areas in addition to its core infrastructure operations that require more support from ADB in these countries. So the good news is that the results show improvement over time overall, but in particular in these areas that can complement ADB's core infrastructure operations. And so the encouragement is for ADB to continue along this path and to becoming more of a dynamic and flexible development partner in these countries.
While development in these countries will remain difficult, evaluation finds that incremental progress can be made. ADB reforms and new resources, coupled with renewed global commitments for sustainable development and tackling climate change, provide an opportunity to make a bigger difference in Asia's poorest and most vulnerable countries.